Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega reunite, and multiple suspended AEW names have been unsuspended. But first, a new AEW contract has been revealed. Sky Blue would make her AEW debut in April 2021 before appearing on Dark and Dark Elevation in front of her hometown of Chicago in September 2021, getting over to the point where she was added to the Casino Battle Royale at the pay-per-view. Since then, she has been a regular in the AEW Women's Division, playing the part as a babyface. According to a new report from Fightful Select, Sky is in fact under an AEW contract, with this being revealed by sources within the independent scene, with Fightful noting, Sky Blue is under some sort of All Elite Wrestling deal, sources tell Fightful. This doesn't come as much of a surprise as she's been regularly featured for over a year to the tune of nearly 50 AEW matches. There was never an All Elite graphic provided for us, so it remains to be seen if it's a full-time or tiered deal, but promoters tell us that when they try to book her, it has to be approved by All Elite Wrestling. Sky mostly appears on AEW Dark, most recently seen teaming with Queen and Minata on last night's edition of the show. She currently has 16 wins in her 48 matches since her AEW debut in April 2021, with a win percentage of 33.3. It's unclear when she was given the contract, although this is good news for fans of Sky Blue. But what do you make of Sky Blue's run in AEW so far? Let me know in the comments down below. And next, a former TNA star has stood up for CM Punk. Ever since the AEW All Out incident last weekend, the narrative surrounding former AEW World Champion CM Punk has changed drastically, with many turning against the Second City Saint. It seems that this has been building up for weeks, with reports emerging of him threatening to leave AEW, with others saying he was responsible for Colt Cabana's AEW exit, something that was denied by Punk and Tony Khan himself, and something that ultimately led to his media scrum rant where he called out the wrestling media and colleagues for leaking what he feels are lies. Well, today Becky Bayliss, known for her time in Ring of Honor and TNA Wrestling, would take to Twitter to tell of the CM Punk that she knows, calling for the wrestling media to do better, and she would write, "The CM Punk I know saves puppies and stands up for women's rights, but that doesn't sell newsletter subscriptions or get website hits, does it? Do better." A fan would then respond to the tweet by saying Kenny does the same, something that she agreed with Becky responding, "I like Kenny a lot and think he's an absolutely amazing wrestler. The point that I have somewhat ineffectively tried to make is the wrestling media has been incredibly irresponsible in their reporting on Punk, which resulted in many fans misjudging him based on false narratives." Becky isn't the only wrestler to have gone to bat for Punk as of late, with ROH, IWGP and AAA Tag Team Champions FTR telling DAZN that Punk has been nothing but inviting, helping a ton of younger stars improve, giving regular advice to the likes of Powerhouse Hobbs and Danhausen. Whilst the wrestling world, and more specifically the AEW fanbase, is more divided than ever, and even the AEW locker room it seems, it's clear that Punk and many of his friends disagree with the current narrative that surrounds him. But let me know your thoughts on CM Punk and Becky Bayliss' comments about him, and is it time that you laid off him a little bit? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up, we have more on the Velveteen Dream bathroom claims. Over recent weeks, Velveteen Dream, real name Patrick Clark, has made headlines for a number of reasons. First, 3 arrests would be revealed, 2 of which happened last month in August. Another story then arose from an interview with former NXT colleague EC3, who stated that Dream attended his house party before leaving his phone in the bathroom to capture people, well, going about their business. This week, appearing in an interview with Steve Fall of NBC Sports Boston, EC3 would discuss the matter further, revealing that WWE did know of the incident but nothing was done. And he would say, "I'm not one to share it and gossip. It was known. Talent was involved. It's a wild tale and a lot of people did know. Even being part of it where I was kind of at the forefront of it because it was my home, taking it up the chain, being there, getting there. People sometimes don't want the boat rocked from an office perspective. Sometimes talent is doing well and drawing money. They'll be protected. At the same time, I'm an adult male who does not need someone else to fight my battles. This sucks, I don't like it. Guys that were involved, this happened, ridicule from peers. No lesson was learnt. Why it came up here and now, somebody asked. Nobody ever asked. I was asked about him, and when it rains, it pours." Dream and EC3 would have a match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 shortly after the incident in 2018, with EC3 suffering a concussion during the match. EC3 would discuss the butterfly effect of the incident incident and would say, "The butterfly effect of it, in theory, working with him later being concussed, was that purposeful? It kind of ruined my run and kind of ruined my life in a sense. It put me in a bad spot because of the issues with the concussions that stemmed from it. That's not to put the blame on it, but that's my story, and it's the truth." It would take just 3 minutes for EC3 to be concussed in the match, with him being called up to the main roster not long after, while still feeling the effects, which he feels led to the downfall of his WWE career. Currently, Clark is incarcerated in Seminole County, Florida, with him set to answer for his criminal charges on September 19th, with him held on account of violating his parole. And next, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega reunite. Following his suspension from All Elite Wrestling, Kenny Omega is currently in Japan for the Tokyo Game Show, which is to promote the AEW Fight Forever video game. It seems that during his time in Japan, he's bumped into an old friend and former tag team partner. Taking to Twitter today, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kota Ibushi would post photos of himself, Kenny Omega, and Omega's assistant Michael Nakazawa, as well as a caption stating that it reminds him of the old times, and he would say, "Time seems to have stopped just like it was back then, old lol." The pair are seen enjoying dinner and later playing some old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo Switch. Omega and Ibushi would work together in both DDT and New Japan Pro Wrestling, collectively being known as the Golden Lovers, this before the Bullet Club led Kenny astray. As for their more recent wrestling years, Ibushi hasn't wrestled since last year's G1 Climax final in October 2021 after he suffered a shoulder injury mid-match. He has since spoken out publicly against New Japan management, with his status still up in the air. As for Omega, he recently returned from a number of injuries on August 17th before winning the AEW Trios titles alongside the Young Bucks at All Out last week, before the trio was suspended after their involvement in the post-media scrum backstage brawl. With Ibushi and Omega's futures still unknown, they appear to have met up once again in Wrestling Purgatory. And before we get into our final story, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe with notifications turned on, as it would really help me out. The channel's been doing great recently, at least in terms of people coming back and watching, but a big percent of you aren't yet subscribed. So yeah, if you do enjoy the videos, I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, let's crack on with the last news story of the day. And finally, multiple suspended AEW names have been unsuspended. Earlier this month, a brawl would break out following the AEW All Out pay-per-view, with AEW EVPs Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks confronting CM Punk in his locker room over comments that he made in the post-show media scrum. This would lead to the majority of the names in the room being suspended, including Kenny, the Bucks, Michael Nakazawa, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, and Brandon Cutler, with CM Punk and Ace Steel potentially set to be fired. Well, news is now broken via Fightful Select that one of the names suspended is present at tonight's AEW Dynamite, which is set to take place in Albany, New York. And the report would note, Pat Buck returned from suspension and is backstage at AEW Dynamite today, sources indicated to Fightful. We're told that Buck was integral in helping break up the fight and was doing his best to restore order in the situation. Shortly after the report from Fightful, Brian Alvarez would take to Wrestling Observer Live to reveal what he's heard, and said that anyone involved in breaking up the fight is now unsuspended, and he said, "Everyone involved, including those breaking up the fight, ended up being suspended by AEW. Essentially, they were sent home and no one heard anything, no contact between AEW and anybody that was sent home. They were all just sitting there, no idea what's going on, just sitting. As of today, I don't know everybody who is off suspension, but I believe that everybody who was involved in breaking up the fight is now off suspension. I know that Pat Buck is off suspension, Brandon Cutler is off suspension, and I think some other people were called today and they're off suspension. So right now, to the best of my knowledge, and there may be phone calls being made right now for all I know, I believe that if you were involved in breaking it up, you are off suspension, but if you are actually involved in the fight, you are still on suspension." Christopher Daniels is currently in Japan, booked on an All Japan show, so he won't be at Dynamite, whilst Michael Nakazawa and Kenny Omega are also in Japan for the Tokyo Game Show, as discussed earlier in the video. It's been confirmed that CM Punk is not at Dynamite as expected, and neither is Ace Steel, and seemingly not the Young Bucks. With that said, it seems that the ongoing investigation is progressing, with certain names being cleared of any wrongdoing in the incident, although the names that are still suspended are pretty much confirmed to have been involved. Perhaps Kenny Omega's appearance for AEW games in Japan is a sign that he's off the hook, although this hasn't been confirmed. And before you go, make sure you check out the 12 most obscure WWE appearances from AEW wrestlers.